then that way, because I know other people are on here. So let me do a share screen here with everybody. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, let me just make it even bigger here. My computer's delayed. Bear with me here. It's like a snowstorm. Here we go. Okay. So tonight's topic, so I am Vanessa Boyle and I am a director. I was an advanced director, but lost my title. So it just goes to show you anybody can go up and down at any given time. And the key of this, though, is not giving up, having consistency, and working through those struggles. So we all have ups and downs. So even when you look at people and think they're at the highest level in the company, at any given time, things happen, and that's where it's important for us to work together and collaborate. So tonight, our workshop is going to focus in on building relationships and overcoming bookings, or overcoming objections to increase bookings. So with our director-bound Leap into Leadership program that we're doing with everybody, the big focus tonight was on bookings. And I thought, well, why not share our PowerPoint that we did at national conference? So it was in front of a good 1,000 people. And actually, this is a workshop on PC University for everybody also. So there's even more practice activities and different things that go with that. So I'll have to gear everybody towards that. At the end of our call, I'll post it on the team page for Leap into Leadership. So let's get started. We're going to dive right in here with this. So the purpose of this is we're going to be talking about building relationships and overcoming bookings, because one of the key things that I always tell everybody on my team personally is that no matter what you do, you need to focus on building relationships, and you can never get upset when you hear the word no. So those are going to be two areas that we're going to look at tonight. Now, at national conference, I actually did this presentation with somebody else. So that's who you'll see on the left, but I'm the one on the right. I look way better in my picture there than I do tonight. So it's a good thing you're seeing the PowerPoint, not me. So I want you to think to yourself as you're sitting on the other side of the computer screen, or if you've ever gotten into your car after a home show, if you do home shows, and thinking to yourself, oh my God, do I look like this? Have I ever gotten to the point where I just did a party, whether it's a home show or virtual, and go, I have no bookings. I did this party, but not one person booked with me. Whether it's home show or virtual, we've all been in that position where we didn't get a single booking from a party. And then now we're going to need to work a little bit harder to do that. So that's what we're going to do, is focus on, well, when this happens to us, what do we do? How do we overcome this? And how can we change this for next time? So how do we do it? Well, the first thing is we want to be intentional on making sure that we're asking people for bookings. We're going to go into each of these three categories a little bit more depth. So be intentional is one thing that we're going to want to focus on. Building the relationship, so building your rapport with all of your customers, guests, and hosts, and then creating a desire that when you're showcasing products, to make people want them more. So if you're on a home show, it might be by utilizing the products, getting people's hands on them. Whereas at a virtual party, it might be, going live with your product. So there's different ways to look at all of these three areas. But the key is going to be, by doing these three things, it's going to help you increase your bookings. So let's take a look at the first topic here as we greet our guests. So I want you to think about when you are going to a home show. So if you are somebody that's a home show consultant and you're about to greet your guests, and your guest opens the door, or your host opens the door, and I want you to think about it. Do you even know what your host looks like? Sometimes we end up booking these parties. Maybe we never met the person in person. Maybe we met them through a virtual party, but now somebody wants to do a home show. So you have to think to yourself, do I even know what my host looks like? Because it would be very awkward if somebody opens the door, or two people open the door, and you're not sure which one your host is. So you want to make sure that you're getting to know your host before they arrive. Some of the ideas of getting to know your host before you arrive is looking at their Facebook profile. So if you are a Facebook creep, like I know I tend to be, you are going to want to look up and down their profile. If you look at some of their posts, look at pictures of their family members, just to have an idea a little bit about them, so that when you show up, it doesn't look like you have no idea what you're talking about with them, or the fact that maybe you don't even know what they look like. The other thing is say that you're at a home party, and I think this is a fabulous idea. Say you're at a home party. We always promote our business, and pictures really do a lot of justice to make a party look like a lot of fun. So one of the things that you want to do is when you're at your party, you want to make sure you're taking pictures of you with all the guests, you and the host with the guests, cooking, the food. But the best thing is if you do a selfie with whoever books a party and then store them in your phone and save their image so that when you have their party, you could go back to the image of you in your selfie and you will get to see what that person looks like. It refreshes your memory. You might even jot down some notes in your notes on your phone about that person. Holly Miller selfie from Jenny's party. And then what's nice about this is then you're going to be able to go back and look at the picture and see what they look like. All right. So now we greet our host. Now the party is starting and the guests are beginning to arrive. So now one of the things you want to do, whether you're at a home party or a virtual party, is greet your guests. So when you start greeting your guests, when they arrive in the door, you're making conversations with them. If it's a virtual party, you could tag them. Hey, I noticed that Sandy, Derek, and Susie all joined the party. Welcome. I'm so excited to party with all of you. Now, one of the things I do at my parties is I have name tags out. I'm really good with name tags, or I'm really good at knowing names. I don't even need name tags. But what I started to do is I actually, I play like a little game. So when they come in, I just try to make it fun. And what I do is I tell everybody, I want you to grab a name tag. I want you to put down your first name, but your last name is going to be a product. So they have to find a product that begins with the same letter as their first name. So if I have Justine, I have Justine Juicer. So they get creative, they get the catalogs, they're going through it, they're talking products right when they get there, and then they have these silly names. So then I make everybody go around the room and announce their name and introduce themselves. They always get a chuckle. They try to find the perverted things that they could say, but it just kind of gets a rouse going. Everybody kind of lets loose a little bit, I feel like. So it's not that uptight party where nobody knows everybody. It's kind of like they get to know each other from just doing that mini interactive name tag. Now, when you greet your guests, you want to make sure you're having good conversations with them, because when you are creating that relationship and you're building the relationship, these are going to be people that are going to book parties with you. So when they're coming in, it's not just, hi, how are you? I'm Vanessa, I'm your consultant tonight. It's, hey, Julie Juicer, I noticed that you must like the juicer since that's what you chose as your last name. Did you just get off of work? You're dressed up. I love what your outfit looks like today. Or, whatever the conversation may be, get a conversation going. Do you have any children? What is your job? Did you just get off work? Where did you come from? If you are on a virtual end of things, it's okay for you to post some type of little, like, how do you know the host? What is your job? If you don't have a post like that, go onto the app Pic-Collage and make one. One of the things I've been doing right now is having everybody post a picture or post a GIF of what their first job was. And then what I do is it creates a conversation. They post their GIF, everybody's laughing. And then I go back and I say, okay, so now that was your first job. What's your current job? So it generates conversation, because you don't want a dry party no matter if it's home or virtual. You want interacting and you want those open-ended questions to make room to build a relationship. Another thing you could do is if you're at a home party, don't put your apron on right away. Blend in with the guests to create conversation. They'll be more in tune to have a conversation with you, not thinking you're going to bombard them with book a party, So you could kind of just blend in with everybody and then put your apron on as you're starting the show. And then they're like, oh my gosh, she is the consultant. We would have never known. So it's just a way so people don't feel tense. Okay, so now a key in your business is to have a strong opening. You want to make sure that you're making your host feel special, because if you make your host feel special, everybody in the room is going to want to be able to book with you because they want to feel special too. So nobody likes to not be part of the cool kids. So if you have a host and you introduce her, maybe you'll even, like, one of the things I do sometimes is I'll show an H for the host, and then on a note card I'll say, okay, when everybody yell out something that begins with the letter H that describes our host. And people are yelling, she's healthy, she's happy, she's hyper, she's, and they're yelling at all these silly things. And my host is like gloating and smiling. And you could totally do that by posting an image as simple as this. What do you love about our host? And then everybody on a virtual party can start talking about what they love about the host. Oh, she's so enduring. She's so compassionate. She has such a good heart. She's, and then before you know it, your host is on cloud 9 and everybody in the room is going, well, I want to be her next, or I want to be him next, because they want to feel special too. So getting people to give your host compliments and creating something fun that gets people talking about your host. Another thing that you could do is call on your past host and say, hey, so right now Jill is having a party, but she really booked off of Brent. And Brent, tell us what you love about Jill. And then Jill could, I'll be like, Jill, what did you love about Brent? How are you guys such good friends? So just kind of you keep that relationship going between them. And then I always call on my past host. So Brent, what did you earn from your party? Tell us. So again, now I'm starting to create that desire right in my introduction. And Brent's like, well, I earned the grill pan, and I earned the quick cooker, and blah, 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 blah. And before you know it, everybody in the room is going, oh my God, they got all of that stuff just from having a party. So then their wheels start going. So it's one of those concepts you're planting seeds early on. Okay? And then, of course, the fun thing is that when you do, like if Brent's party's over, you definitely want Brent posting pictures of what he got. And I actually have a fun little image at the end of the slideshow that will show you something you could create that gets all your hosts and your guests posting pictures. It's so simple, but having people post, because then it's going to constantly have your name in it, and it's going to make people, it's going to create that desire for them to book a party and to get their items as well. All right. So again, we're making our host feel special, giving the past shout outs to our previous host, and that's a lot of fun. And then also make sure you highlight that, well, Brent, even though it's not his party tonight, because Jill booked off of Brent's going to get a 50% off tonight. Isn't that amazing that our Pampered Chef rewards just continue to keep going? So again, then your current host is going to go, oh my gosh, well, I need people in this room to book parties because I want my rewards to keep going. So you're working with your host, you're planting these seeds early on, and then throughout the party, you're going to do the same thing. And then, of course, giving a small gift. I give a Season's Best cookbook to all of my hosts, even if they're virtual. If they're home parties, I have everybody go around the room and write a message in it. So then that way they can remember it. I always make a silly and I say, we're going to pass the catalog around, or pass the Season's Best around. They have great recipes. Make sure everybody adds this to their party orders tonight. It's also great to use as a card. So instead of going and buying Hallmark cards for $7, you could give make this as their birthday card or Christmas card with great recipes and write a message to them. So kind of just, a little extra. And then I'll say, make sure you add a special message, and you want to make sure you put down your wish list item, because then that way Jill knows what everybody wants for Christmas, so she can purchase you all Pampered Chef items. And of course, everybody gets a kick out of it. And most people actually do write their wish list item in. And then at the end of the night, I'm nosy and I kind of jot some things down. And then I know who to touch base with. Like, hey, we're having a 60% off sale in May. This is a great time. Let's get you your grill pan. So just ways for me to kind of also know. And then the next thing we're going to look at doing is creating a party atmosphere. So yes, you have a strong introduction. That's going to be very important. Making sure that our host feels special, kicking the night off just right, planting some of those booking seeds. But now I want you to think about this. Whether you're a home consultant, virtual consultant, or a mix of both, would you party with yourself? So think about this. If you were not the consultant, but the consultant was just like you, would you want to party and book a party with you? Because if you're not going to book a party with you, neither is anybody else. So you have to have a party that is going to create such an atmosphere that everybody's like, oh my gosh, I totally want to party with Justine, or I totally want to party with Jana. So everybody wants to party with you because if you make it so much fun. So that's what you want to think about is, are your guests having fun? Are you making it engaging? Are you doing hands-on things? Are you on the virtual party getting it that people are interacting and you're engaging them? So sometimes our parties, we go in there with the mindset we love to show power tools, and that's going to be a big component we talk about tonight. But at the same time, we're not just there for sales. We are there to make sure everybody's having a good time, because you don't know who was sitting there that night that maybe came from just having a death in their family. You don't know who just came there and is getting a divorce. So some of these people really need a night out, or really need to have fun on the other side of the internet and make it a good time. And that's what our job is to do. And again, by doing that, you're going to build those relationships. So what do you do to engage your guests at a party to make them want to book? Well, some of the things is totally getting their hands on the products. If you're going to do a demo style show, that's fine. But you got to at least make some interactive, like, oh my gosh, can somebody, you're going to get tickets if you come up and try the salad choppers. Who wants to do the manual food chopper? Manual food processor. I always say it's a stress reliever. My husband always knows that if it's going slow, it's safe to come in the kitchen. But if I'm hammering away at that thing, he knows, oh shit, Vanessa's in a mood. Get away from her. So I always make jokes throughout the party, make them laugh. I mean, please, nobody take offense to this, but I always say with Stoneware, once you go black, you don't go back, and it takes everybody a second, and they're like, oh my God, this is, and then they're laughing, and I don't mean it towards anybody, but I want them to laugh and giggle and have a good time, even if I look silly at times, because I know that if they're laughing, they're having a good time, and then if they're having a good time, I'm having a good time, which means I'm host, and it's going to be a whirlwind effect. The other thing is, you keep in mind, like I always say to my party people when I get there is, I know you all have stressful days at your jobs. I know your days are busy, so I'm not going to stop you from having a sidebar conversation here and there. What I want you to do is have sidebar conversations about how much you love me, but, I get that you're not going to be able to listen 100% tonight, and we're going to get the demo done. We're going to get our hands on. We're going to have a lot of fun, but then I'm going to leave time at the end of the party because I want you to socialize and connect with your friends. I cannot tell you how much people respect that when they'll come back to me and say, oh my God, Vanessa, I loved your party because you gave us time to talk and you didn't take the floor the whole night. So I make sure I always do have time that I'm not taking from them the whole night. And I kind of, at that time, it's nice too, because then it gives me a chance to go around and socialize in smaller groups with people and to build those relationships. The other thing is, like I said, getting hands-on. If you're doing a virtual party, actually, let me jump back for a minute. If you're doing a virtual party, creating your atmosphere is engaging posts. So not starting a virtual party with all types of power tools, but really starting with engaging posts. Like there's one that floats around that says, go into Google and type in your name and then type in, what the heck is it called? I'm drawing a blank right now. Oh, glamour shots. So you type your name and then type on glamour shots, and it brings up the funniest pictures of people, and then you could post it online. Or, just posting like, what's your leprechaun name? Like that would be good for right now. And then they find the letters that match whatever it says, and then they post their leprechaun names. I did in January, I was doing a lot of like Disney things, and people were like loving it because I guess they love Disney. So just things that are engaging to get people talking, things that make people laugh. And that's what's going to keep it entertaining. Now, once it is during your party, one of the things you want to keep in mind is that anybody can sell a brownie pan and anybody can sell a mini nylon spatula. Those are not items we even want to talk about at the party because it's not going to create the desire we want to create. Anybody can go through a catalog and say, well, I want to spend $20, so I want the brownie pan. And people will come into your parties with a budget and they'll say, well, I know I'm only spending $35 tonight, and that's their mindset. And that's fine. And they may spend only $35. But your job is to create the desire and build a relationship with them. And by creating a desire is by showing them the high dollar power tool items. Now, if you're not familiar with what power tools are, obviously in the picture, these are some power tools. Our stainless steel pans. This month is the wok. Pull that bad boy out and do live videos. Our multi-pot, you could do your rock pots, the grill pan. I always show both grill pans. So your high dollar, the cookware, especially since cookware is going to be coming up very soon, showing off pretty much the quick cooker, of course, is an amazing one with accessories and all included. Showing power tools, but showing not the features. Like anybody could say, oh, well, the rock rock's made out of clay. It goes up to 752 degrees. Who cares about that? You got to focus on how it's going to benefit them in life. So I'm making connections right there with people at the party. Raise your hand right now if you are crazy busy in the evenings and you're running kids in 90 different directions and your kids are in sports and you don't have time to get a meal on the table and you're hitting the drive-thru. Hands are going to go up like crazy. Raise your hand if you can't stand watching water boil because it's the most boring thing in your life and you don't have time in your day. Hands go up. There's your quick cooker doing pasta in 6 minutes now. So what you got to do is show people how it's going to benefit them in their lives. So for instance, right now I'm loving my quick cooker. So I'm telling people, you could have pasta done in 6 minutes. You could take food. Who in the room forgets to thaw out their meats? You could do this on virtual parties. Raise your hand if you forget to thaw out meats. Post a picture of you raising your hand. Post a GIF. Post an emoji, whatever it is. These are things that you're going to do because it's going to engage them. You're going to get people interacting. You're showing power tools, and you're going to talk about how it's going to benefit them. What it's going to do is if they don't buy it outright that night, it's going to create the desire for them to book a party with you. Quick cooker, you could do breakfast, lunch, dinner, desserts. There's so many different things you could do. You could sear, you could steam your vegetables. You could take it and you could turn it into a slow cooker. It has a warming load. So those are features. But the benefits are hey, when you're searing your meatballs, you leave your lid off. You're going to sear your meatballs in about 7 minutes. Then when you're done searing your meatballs, you are going to hit stop. You're going to add your box of dry pasta. You're going to add in your pasta sauce, your spaghetti sauce, 1 cup of water with it. It's not going to take away your flavor. If you want to add some extra garlic or seasonings, feel free. Go ahead. Set the custom setting to 6 minutes. You now have seared your meatballs in one thing. So you're not going from searing in a pan to something else. You are not watching water boil. You're going to have your pasta dinner done in less than 20 minutes. And it's all done in one pot, which means you barely have any dishes to do at the end of the night, and you're not watching it boil. You have just booked probably 3 parties right off the bat just from pasta. So showing people what it's going to do for them and going live in even your regular Facebook, going live in virtual parties, showing and talking about these benefits are going to be key. What I'll do for everybody is when we're done the video tonight, our training call, I'll post some of the power tools and some ideas for you for benefits versus just features so that it gives you some conversation starters for your parties. Okay, so again, featuring power tools, it plants your booking seeds. And then, you could let somebody know oh my gosh, if you are in love with the knife block, it's normally $369, but when you host your own party, so here's a booking seed, you're going to get it for only $147.60 in May. What do you think on that, So don't give them the actual, hey, it's going to be 60% off. Tell them really what they're going to pay. And we're going to talk more about that in a minute here. All right, so here it is. So sharing how much they're going to save. So if they have their eye on some of these key power tools. So let's go back to, let's do the double burner grill because this is always a favorite at my parties because I tell them the benefits. Oh my gosh, you could have breakfast, lunch, dinner, and dessert done. You could do eggs on this. Even if it has grill marks, it's no big deal. I do pancakes. It looks like cute little wells, and then you line it with fruits and little blueberries and whipped cream so that way the kids get a kick out of it. You could do grilled pizzas. You could do grilled cheese. You could do paninis or quesadillas. You could do your kids' dinner on the one end, and you could do your dinner on the other end because the kids never like what we make anyways. You could actually take this and do a whole thing of sausage and peppers and then cook it right in your oven because this is also oven safe, which is amazing. You could do grilled pineapple and grilled pound cake so that way you have a great dessert to go with. Grilled fajitas. And I give them all these different ideas, and now all of a sudden they're going, oh my gosh, I want the grill pan. So then I'll say, okay, so now who is loving this grill pan? Hands go up. I'll say, in May, when you book a party, you're not going to pay $250. You're going to pay $100. So how many of you would love to get this pan for $100? Hands go up. There you go. Those are your people you're going to follow up with at the checkout chat at the end of the party. Same thing. You're doing a virtual party. Post it. Go live. Tell them the true value of what they're going to pay. Don't tell them they're getting it for 60% off because they don't know what 60% off means. We do. They don't. They don't know what the original cost of these products are. So tell them what they're going to pay. Always tell them what it is up front and then what their cost out of pocket would be. Now, why do people need these power tools? Right now, statistically, and this is probably higher. This is from, I believe it was last year or maybe even the year before. But statistically, Americans are spending over $3,000 just on takeout food. That's not going out and sitting at a restaurant to sit down and eat. This is through drive-thrus. I mean, $3,000, who would not want to put $3,000 back in their family budgets? To me, this is insane. Plus, if you look at all the health factors, cancers, all the diabetes, high cholesterol, blood pressures, there are so many things out there right now that people cannot afford to eat badly. They need to eat healthier meals. Plus, you want to teach kids, if anybody has kids, you want to teach their kids how to cook. And kids can learn with our products because they're safe for them to use. If it's a pot that gets hot, they're still able to help mom and dads in the kitchen, by using a mix and chop or using salad choppers and showing them the proper way. These are skills, and this is quality family time for something meaningful rather than everybody sitting on an iPad or a device at dinner time because now everybody went through the drive-through. You're giving those memories back into so many homes when you teach them how to cook such basic meals and that their kids could be involved too. So now you may have red booking flags that will come throughout parties. This could be on home parties. It could be on virtual parties. One of the things I just want to insert here before I go into the red flags is if you are doing a virtual party and you start to see people that are acting, that are really active in the show, I do start to build a relationship by private messaging the people. Like, I'm like, oh, Sandy, you're really active on the show. Oh my gosh, did you ever think about doing the Pampered Chef business? Like, you are running the party more than me. Or, oh my gosh, wow, Betty, you really know the products. Have you ever thought about booking a party and getting our new product line since you already have so many of the other products? So you want to start to build a relationship behind the scenes. And then I still look for my red flags and still comment also on my virtual parties. But some of the red flags that you might say is, oh my gosh, I can never have this many people at my house. Or you might hear them say, wow, this has been really fun. Or if they're just asking a lot of questions, they're kind of the ones that could be like a pain in the butt at the party where they're asking everything, commenting left and right, kind of stealing the show. Yeah, they're probably your next recruits, by the way. But those are also people that you want to talk to about both business and about bookings. Somebody says, oh, I love that Grill Pan, but it's out of my budget. So let's look at, well, how do we handle these red flags? If somebody says to me, I can't have this many people in my house, I always chuckle and say, oh my gosh, girlfriend, this is not the norm. I could party with any amount of people in any size house. You know, sometimes people are intimidated and say no to us because they think if they're at a party with this huge house with tons of people, they immediately get intimidated. So you got to bring it back to reality and say, you know what, this is not the typical of most houses. I mean, unless, of course, it is, then you might say something along the lines of, oh, my goodness, we party in every room in the house. I don't even care if we go in your bathroom. We can figure out a way to make a salad in your bathroom. You know, joke about it, but let them know it's okay that we don't have to be in the kitchen. We could do things in other rooms of the house. Or if they're really concerned, be like, well, what's your backyard like? You know, would you be more interested maybe in a summer party? If you're able to afford to put bookings out, you know, further in your calendar. Somebody says, wow, this has been really fun. You want to follow up with them, absolutely. Say, hey, I noticed that you have thought this was really fun, so I just wanted to follow up because it would be so amazing if we could have this much fun here. How much fun would it be for us to party with you and your friends because you would know everybody? So kind of put it back in like, wow, this is fun, but we'd have even more fun with your family and friends. Somebody says, oh, I love the Grill Pan, but it's too expensive. That's when you probably say, you know, I know you really had your eye on that Grill Pan, and I don't know if I told you, but if we book your party for next month, I could get that Grill Pan instead of paying $250, which you saw in the catalog, we can get it for $100. You know, so then it's creating that desire early on, but now you're able to seal the deal with them because you're going to be able to get it for them at a lower price. So watch for these red flags in your parties. All right, next up, maybe, it seems like my computer froze for a minute here, so bear with me here, everybody. We were going all good. I'm like, I know my technology is moving way too good for me here tonight. Oh, there it is. Okay, so now I want you to think about your party at the end of the show. So you had a great introduction. You got people engaged on the parties, whether it's home show or virtual. Everybody's engaged. You're making connections. You're private messaging people to build relationships, getting people to create that. You're creating that desire. They want the party items that you're showcasing. But then, you know what happens sometimes at the end of a party? And this is even virtuals. At the end of a virtual party, sometimes they end up disappearing. Did you ever have that happen to you? So we always say the party wrap-up is like herding cats. Did you ever hear that expression before? You're trying to bring all the cats back in. Did you ever hear that? All right. And that could be on either type. So what you want to do is call attention. Now, the teacher and me, I have no problem calling attention. Anybody that's a teacher, you do the clap. You do a 1, 2, 3 eyes on me if you're elementary. Or you just have a big mouth and your people are going to listen to you. So, but you always want to have a party wrap up and a full closing in your parties because this is going to be the opportunity to bring up again about your host program, to talk about the business, play a game. There's a game called Stealing Hearts. Now this focus is not on recruiting tonight, but I always want to make sure I mention that in your wrap up, you do want to talk about the business opportunity all the time. And it doesn't matter if you're interested in recruiting at this point or not, which you guys are in leap in the leadership, so you should totally be ready to recruit and share the business because it's such a blessing. But you have to offer the business because it is not up to us to decide. It is up to them. We must offer it, and then they get to decide what they want to do with the business, okay? But it would be very selfish if we do not offer the business because what happens if somebody needs to pay a mortgage or get groceries on the table, and we have that opportunity to make a difference. So it's very important in your wrap up that you're talking about not only bookings, but also the recruiting aspect. All right. So again, so this is the time you pull everybody back in the party. You go over the host program. This is a great time in your virtual parties to go live. You could even do like, I'm going to do, post like, I'm going to be live on this day at this time. If you join me live, I'm going to do extra tickets. Somebody's going to win a prize. If you book a party during that time, you're going to get extra tickets, and it gives you a chance. People could post questions on there about bookings and about the business. So maybe if they ask a question about bookings and the host program, they get 1 ticket. If they ask about the business, they get 2 tickets. Because now you're creating an atmosphere where everybody's talking and thinking bookings and recruiting and building a team, or joining a team rather. And it's giving you a chance to seal that deal and to really put a finishing touch on the party. And then, so if you're looking at an in-home party, we do what's called a checkout chat. So at this in-home person party, one of the things you want to do is make sure you have an area set up for where you plan to close people out. Some people like to go off in a quiet area. Some people like to be right in the mix. I am a big mouth. I like to be right in the mix because I like to, number one, I'm nosy and I want to hear what everybody else is saying. So if I hear them cross-selling products, I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, totally, you like that idea, that you would like those 2 products, giving my opinion and supporting somebody saying that. And I also like to hear what they're saying. Plus, if somebody books a party with me during checkout chat, I'm like, hey, Jill, you were our person that, you're our host. Jill, guess what? Marcy just booked a party. Woo, everybody cheer for Marcy. So I make a big to-do because now everybody wants to get on the booking train. You want to get on the booking bus, right? So I kind of do that. And then I always have host packets ready. If you are not having host packets at your party, you're doing a disservice to yourself, because that means, number one, you're wasting postage. Number two is if they're readily available, I put them out and put dates on, and it says, if you want to book tonight, or if you want to grab a date, grab this and bring it to checkout chat. And when they check out, I keep reminding them at the end of the party, hey, don't forget, grab one of those things. So sometimes people just come up to me with my host packets. I pull out the paper I have inside my host letter. We put the date on it. We schedule their party, and I have everything done that night. And I start host coaching right there about having them create their guest list of 40 or more people for my in-home parties. And if they're doing a virtual party, I'm telling them they're having 70, they're going to invite about 75 people. And we want to have at least 30 people try to join our party. So I start right away. And I ask every single person about booking a party. Hey, I noticed that you had a really great time tonight. I saw you were laughing. What do you think about getting your friends together? And a lot of times people are saying no. So if you're afraid they're going to say no, instantly ask them to join your team first, because then they get the first initial no out of the way, and then you could ask them about the booking. So either you're going to get new recruits or you're going to get bookings because they initially get the no out of their way. And then you could say, sometimes they'll have like those, my house is too small, I don't think I have enough friends. And then that's our job to work through that with them and say, you know what, I know a lot of times people think that they don't have enough friends. Well, let's make it a list right now. Who would you invite? I always have a notebook with me because I start to sketch out. I'm like, all right, tell me which friends you'd invite. Tell me which coworkers you'd invite. Tell me family. Well, before you know it, I'm handing them a list at the end and going, well, you just told me 40 people, so I guess we have your guest list ready. So what date should we book? So that way they're talking to me and they think they're just talking, and in the meantime, I have their guest list ready to roll. So you want to always, always, always have host packets ready, and you must ask everybody at every party. Now let's take a look at the virtual and the checkout chat. These are some examples of it where you could actually have conversations, at the end. Did you have a good time on our virtual party? What did you think? I would love to send you some recipes. I noticed that on your order, you bought this item. I'm going to forward you some recipes. Did you notice how easy it was? Did you ever think about doing this business? Were you thinking about how you thought maybe you could do what I was doing on the party? Because again, you want to offer that business opportunity, and then go into saying, asking about well, what's your favorite product? What is your big wish list item? And you're opening that door. You're building a relationship. You're not just, do you want to have a party with me? Because that gets to be like overwhelming. When people come up to me and I don't even know who they are, and they're like, do you want to have a party? And I'm like, no, I don't. It's a big turnoff to me. So you want to build a relationship. Give them some customer service. Work with them. These are things you could do throughout the whole party with those people that are really engaged, so that by the time you get to checkout chat, you've already built that rapport. And you're saying, you know what? I noticed you just were a rock at this party. You were participating like crazy. Oh my God, you were so much fun. When should we get your party started? Do you want to start next week? Because let's face it, a virtual party, you can start immediately. So making sure you're sending personal messages to the guests, okay? Some of the things that you might ask them during checkout chat: did you get everything on your wish list? Well, what was your favorite part about our party this evening? Which theme would you like to do with your friends? I love margaritas and fajitas, or Taco Tuesday, and we can make margaritas. Most of the time, if you offer anything related to wine and margaritas, people are like, I'm in. Or mimosas, I find that too. Which date works best for you and your friends? And if they are adamant and they say no to every possible thing, then you say, okay, I'll let you off the hook, but you got to give me somebody that that you think would book a party. And then you giggle and laugh, but I'm always serious, and I try to get at least a referral. If you are doing a virtual party, same thing. They keep saying no. I'll say, I understand. That's fine. I would love to add you to, and I always go in and I add everybody as a Facebook friend. If they're engaged on the party, if they are purchasing on the party, I'm adding them as my Facebook friend because I want to make myself easy to find. On the end of my virtual parties, one of the things I always do too is I put my phone number and I tell them if they text me, they'll get an extra ticket before I pull a prize. At my home parties, I say, okay, let's see who could be the first to text my phone. I want you to program me as crazy Vanessa PC lady. Here's my number. First one to text me, you're going to get a prize tonight. And then what happens is I get everybody's phone numbers. And I always tell them to make sure that they add their name. But then now I just added them all in my contacts. And I have all their phone numbers, which makes it great. Because then what I could do is in a couple of days, I follow up and send them a recipe with what they ordered. And if they say no to me tonight, by doing my follow-up, I'm going to be able to hopefully seal the deal by, kind of, again, talking with them and touching base. So I do, basically, like I said, I do whatever I do for a virtual party, I do for a home show and vice versa. There's only little tweaking things that I do. It's the same concept though, so it doesn't really matter which one. You're doing checkout chat. You're doing all of these parts. It just might be a text message versus face-to-face. So just depending on what type of party it is. Now, there are going to be objections at checkout chat. You're going to definitely hear, my house is too small, I don't have enough friends. One of the things that you need to do is don't get all excited immediately and go, and kind of mouth off 90 things and kind of vomit from the mouth. What you got to do sometimes is sit back and listen and empathize. Even though in your mind, if you're going, well, okay, you're telling me you're busy. Well, I'm a mom of 4 kids and I have this and this and this and this. Like, we know life is busy for all of us. So when somebody tells us